Summoning as additional accused. Whether material available in the charge sheet and case diary can be considered. Trial court can take such a step to add such persons as accused only on the basis of evidence adduced before it and not on the basis of materials available in the charge sheet or the case diary, because such materials contained in the charge sheet or the case diary do not constitute evidence. Headnote A. Summoning as additional accused. Whether a court, while trying an offence, is barred from initiating process under Section 319 of the CRPC against a witness in the said proceeding on the basis of other material on record. Held, the only protection available is, a witness cannot be subjected to prosecution on the basis of his own statement. It nowhere provides that there is complete and unfettered immunity to a person even if there is other substantial evidence or material against him proving his prima facie involvement. Headnote B. Summoning as additional accused. An order for initiation of process under Section 319 CRPC against a witness who has deposed in the trial and has tendered evidence incriminating himself would be tested on the anvil that whether only such incriminating statement has formed the basis of the order under Section 319 CRPC. At the same time, mere reference to such statement would not vitiate the order. The test would be as to whether, even if the statement of witness is removed from consideration, whether on the basis of other incriminating material, the court could have proceeded under Section 319 CRPC. Summoning as additional accused. Whether sanction for prosecution of public servant required before moving an application. Courts cannot take cognizance against any public servant for offences committed under Sections 7, 11, 13 and 15 of the PC Act, even on an application under Section 319 of the CRPC, without first following the requirements of Section 19 of the PC Act. Correct procedure should have been for the prosecution to obtain sanction under Section 19 of the PC Act from the appropriate government before formally moving an application before the court under Section 319 of CRPC. Summoning as additional accused. Effect of order deciding application after the order of sentence. Order of conviction in the case of some of the accused and the order of acquittal in the case of the other accused was passed in the first half of the day. In the second half, the court first passed an order for sentencing of the persons who were convicted and only thereafter passed an order under Section 319 of CRPC for summoning the present appellant. The Constitution Bench has clearly held that if such a summoning order is passed, either after the order of acquittal or imposing of sentence in the conviction, the same may not be sustainable. Headnote A. Summoning as additional accused. Doctrine of relation back. Trial court rejected application before the conclusion of trial. High Court decided application after the conclusion of trial, set aside the said order and directed the trial court to reconsider the application afresh. Such order passed by the High Court travels back to the date when the trial court rejected the said application. Trial court cannot be considered functus officio as regards considering the application under Section 319 after the conclusion of the trial. Thus, as the summoning order can be deemed to have been passed before the conclusion of the trial, there is no impediment for the trial court to proceed with the appellants in the manner envisaged under Section 319 of the CRPC. As the summoning order passed in compliance with the order passed by High Court and revision takes effect from the date of the original order, this ensures that there is compliance with the dictum laid in Sukhpal Singh Khera that the summoning order has to be necessarily passed before the conclusion of the trial. Summoning as additional accused. Opportunity of hearing. Section 319 does not contemplate that a summoned person must be given an opportunity of being heard before being added as an accused to face the trial. A right of hearing would accrue only to a person who is already discharged in the very same proceeding prior to the commencement of the trial. However, after the rejection of an application under Section 319, a right inures in favor of the proposed accused. If in exercise of revisional jurisdiction, the High Court is to pass an order which is prejudicial to the benefit which had already inured in favor of the proposed accused, then the High Court is obligated in law to provide an opportunity of hearing to the proposed accused. This is also the mandate as contained in subsection 2 of Section 401 of the CRPC. Summoning as additional accused. Whether accused summoned under Section 319 CRPC can seek discharge. For summoning an accused, on the basis of a higher standard of proof totally infructuous and futile if the same court were to subsequently discharge the same accused by exercise of the power under Section 227 of the CRPC, on the basis of a mere prima facie view. The exercise of the power under Section 319 of the CRPC must be placed on a higher pedestal. Accused summoned under Section 319 of the CRPC are entitled to invoke remedy under law against an illegal or improper exercise of the power under Section 319, but cannot have the effect of the order undone by seeking a discharge under Section 227 of the CRPC. Summoning as additional accused. Whether a person discharged earlier can be summoned under Section 319 CRPC. Held, no bar to proceed against him under Section 319 CRPC based on the supplementary charge sheet, that too when sufficient material is brought on record against him during the course of trial. Headnote A. Summoning as additional accused. If an application is made after the cross-examination of witnesses, it will be unjust to ignore the same. Headnote B. Summoning as additional accused. Murder case. Whether court can consider omissions in the evidence which amount to contradiction while deciding application. Application under Section 319 of the CRPC was based on the depositions of two alleged eyewitnesses. Both of them, in the examination in chief, deposed that they had seen the present appellant hitting on the left side of the head of the deceased by a spade. Their cross-examination shows that the allegation made by them against the appellant in the examination in chief is an omission. The omission is significant and relevant. In view of the omissions which are material and which amount to contradiction, obviously no court could have recorded a satisfaction which is contemplated by Section 319 of the CRPC. It is impossible to record a finding that even a prima facie case of involvement of the appellant has been made out. Impugned order not sustainable. Headnote A. Summoning as additional accused. Stage at which power under Section 319 CRPC can be exercised. Held, until and unless the case reaches the stage of inquiry or trial by the court, the power under Section 319 CRPC cannot be exercised. Since after the filing of the charge sheet, the court reaches the stage of inquiry and as soon as the court frames the charges, the trial commences. The word course occurring in Section 319 CRPC clearly indicates that the power can be exercised only during the period when the inquiry has been commenced and is going on or the trial which has commenced and is going on. It covers the entire wide range of the process of the pre-trial and the trial stage. To say that powers under Section 319 CRPC can be exercised only during trial would be reducing the impact of the word inquiry by the court. By no means it can be said that provisions of Section 319 CRPC cannot be pressed into service during the course of inquiry. The word inquiry is not surplusage in the said provision. Headnote B. Summoning as additional accused. The word evidence in Section 319 CRPC means only such evidence as is made before the court in relation to statements and as produced before the court in relation to documents. It is only such evidence that can be taken into account by the magistrate or the court to decide whether power under Section 319 CRPC is to be exercised and not on the basis of material collected during investigation. Apart from evidence recorded during trial, any material that has been received by the court after cognizance is taken and before the trial commences can be utilized only for corroboration and to support the evidence recorded by the court to invoke the power under Section 319 CRPC. The evidence is thus limited to the evidence recorded during trial. Headnote C. Summoning as additional accused. Power can be exercised at the stage of completion of examination in chief, and court does not need to wait till the said evidence is tested on cross-examination, for it is the satisfaction of the court which can be gathered from the reasons recorded by the court in respect of complicity of some other persons not facing the trial in the offence. Headnote D. Summoning as additional accused. Degree of satisfaction required for invoking the power under Section 319 CRPC. Power under Section 319 CRPC is a discretionary and an extraordinary power. It is to be exercised sparingly and only in those cases where the circumstances of the case so warrant. Only where strong and cogent evidence occurs against a person from the evidence led before the court that such power should be exercised, and not in a casual and cavalier manner. Though only a prima facie case is to be established from the evidence led before the court, not necessarily tested on the anvil of cross-examination, it requires much stronger evidence than mere probability of his complicity. The test that has to be applied is one which is more than prima facie case as exercised at the time of framing of charge, but short of satisfaction to an extent that the evidence, if goes unrebutted, would lead to conviction. In the absence of such satisfaction, the court should refrain from exercising power under Section 319 CRPC. Headnote E. Summoning as additional accused. A person not named in the FIR, or a person though named in the FIR but has not been charge-sheeted, or a person who has been discharged can be summoned under Section 319 CRPC provided from the evidence it appears that such person can be tried along with the accused already facing trial. However, in so far as an accused who has been discharged is concerned, the requirement of Sections 300 and 398 CRPC has to be complied with before he can be summoned afresh. Summoning as additional accused. SIT. Exonerated accused. Eyewitnesses in the trial court have named the private respondents as persons present on the site of occurrence. SIT found no evidence against the private respondents. However, such factum by itself puts no fetters on the powers bestowed under Section 319 of the Code. Summoning as additional accused. Plea of alibi. High Court, by elevating unproved defense documents above sworn testimony, adopted an approach that was neither consistent with the text of Section 319 CRPC nor consonant with the realities of a case involving a vulnerable victim. The court's intervention, in effect, foreclosed the prosecution from testing the alibi and deprived the trial court of jurisdiction expressly conferred upon it. Impugned order set aside. Headnote A. Summoning as additional accused. Whether sustainable when the trial with respect to other co-accused has ended and the judgment of conviction rendered on the same date before pronouncing the summoning order. Held, summoning order has to precede the conclusion of trial by imposition of sentence in the case of conviction. If the order is passed on the same day, it will have to be examined on the facts and circumstances of each case, and if such summoning order is passed either after the order of acquittal or imposing sentence in the case of conviction, the same will not be sustainable. Summoning as additional accused. Whether the trial court has the power under Section 319 of the CRPC for summoning additional accused when the trial in respect of certain other absconding accused, whose presence is subsequently secured, is ongoing pending, having been bifurcated from the main trial. Held, yes, subject to the evidence recorded in the split-up, bifurcated, trial pointing to the involvement of the accused sought to be summoned. But the evidence recorded in the main concluded trial cannot be the basis of the summoning order if such power has not been exercised in the main trial till its conclusion. Summoning as additional accused. Guidelines to be followed by courts while exercising power under Section 319 CRPC. 1. If the competent court finds evidence or if application under Section 319 of CRPC is filed regarding involvement of any other person in committing the offence based on evidence recorded at any stage in the trial before passing of the order on acquittal or sentence, it shall pause the trial at that stage. 2. The court shall thereupon first decide the need or otherwise to summon the additional accused and pass orders thereon. 3. If the decision of the court is to exercise the power under Section 319 of CRPC and summon the accused, such summoning order shall be passed before proceeding further with the trial in the main case. 4. If the summoning order of additional accused is passed, depending on the stage at which it is passed, the court shall also apply its mind to the fact as to whether such summoned accused is to be tried along with the other accused or separately. 5. If the decision is for joint trial, the fresh trial shall be commenced only after securing the presence of the summoned accused. 6. If the decision is that the summoned accused can be tried separately, on such order being made, there will be no impediment for the court to continue and conclude the trial against the accused who were being proceeded with. 7. If the proceeding paused as in 1. Above is in a case where the accused who were tried are to be acquitted and the decision is that the summoned accused can be tried afresh separately, there will be no impediment to pass the judgment of acquittal in the main case. 8. If the power is not invoked or exercised in the main trial till its conclusion and if there is a split-up, bifurcated case, the power under Section 319 of CRPC can be invoked or exercised only if there is evidence to that effect, pointing to the involvement of the additional accused to be summoned in the split-up, bifurcated trial. 9. If, after arguments are heard and the case is reserved for judgment, the occasion arises for the court to invoke and exercise the power under Section 319 of CRPC, the appropriate course for the court is to set it down for rehearing. Case Smiley on setting it down for rehearing, the above laid down procedure to decide about summoning, holding of joint trial or otherwise shall be decided and proceeded with accordingly. 11. Even in such a case, at that stage, if the decision is to summon additional accused and hold a joint trial, the trial shall be conducted afresh and de novo proceedings be held. 12. If, in that circumstance, the decision is to hold a separate trial in case of the summoned accused as indicated earlier. A. The main case may be decided by pronouncing the conviction and sentence and then proceed afresh against summoned accused. B. In the case of acquittal, the order shall be passed to that effect in the main case and then proceed afresh against summoned accused. Headnote A. Summoning as additional accused. Whether trial court to wait for cross-examination to take place before deciding application. It is for the trial court to decide whether the application should be decided without waiting for the cross-examination to take place or to wait for it. The same would depend upon the satisfaction of the trial court on the basis of the material placed on record. Headnote B. Summoning as additional accused. Complicity of any person sought to be arraigned as an accused can be decided with or without conducting cross-examination of the complainant and other prosecution witnesses, and there is no mandate to decide the application under Section 319 CRPC before cross-examination of other witnesses. Summoning as additional accused. Mere disclosing names cannot be said to be strong and cogent evidence. Complainant husband initiated criminal proceedings against family of his in-laws. In the FIR, complainant has mentioned that 15 women and 35 men came by vehicles, but the names of 11 persons alone were disclosed in the FIR. In the FIR or statements under Section 161 of the Code, the names of the appellants, their villages, or any other description have not been given so as to identify them. The allegations in the FIR are vague and can be used any time to include any person in the absence of description in the FIR to identify such person. No strong or cogent evidence to make the appellants stand the trial in view of the judgment in Hardeep Singh case. Summoning as additional accused. Doubts raised qua credibility of prosecution witnesses. Court, at this stage, cannot go into these details as these are the issues that would be determined during the trial. High Court erred in setting aside the well-reasoned order of trial court by giving undue weight to the Section 161 CRPC statements of some witnesses when the trial court, on the strength of the testimonies of PW1 and PW2, has summoned respondent numbers 2 and 3 to face trial. Summoning as additional accused. Dowry death. Appellants, sister-in-law and brother-in-law of the deceased, despite both of them being named in the FIR and in the examination in chief of respondent number 1, there is no credible evidence to connect them with the unnatural death of deceased. No cogent material that sister-in-law, even after her marriage, continued to reside in her parents' house or that they used to intermeddle in the day-to-day marital life of the deceased and her husband. In the absence of any authentic evidence to bring them in close proximity of the reported crime, it would be unjustified to call upon appellants to face trial as additional accused. Summoning as additional accused. Fraudulent withdrawal from the account of the complainant. Appellant was merely working as a miscellaneous clerk in the bank. Merely because he once had supplied a copy of the statement of account to the complainant which was either dim or misprinted, based on this material, opinion cannot be formed that he was in connivance with the accused who allegedly indulged in cheating the complainant by fraudulent withdrawal from his account. He is not authorized either to approve withdrawal or to deal with the account of the complainant. Impugned order set aside.